Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered is a visually and technically enhanced version of the action-adventure game Marvel's Spider-Man, which casts the player as Spider-Man in a vast, action-packed open-world New York City. The remastered version is available for PlayStation 5 and Windows, and includes the original game and all add-ons, as well as the ability to transfer save files, preserving progress made on PS4. Insomniac drew inspiration from Marvel Comics during its development, but the game isn't part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but rather its own. The story skips Peter Parker's formative years as Spider-Man and begins after the hero has gained experience as a superhero, met, and even broken up with Mary Jane. His alter ego is well known and popular in New York City. A series of high-profile crimes forces the city's mayor, Norman Osborn, to accuse Spidey of orchestrating unrest and order mercenaries led by Silver Sable to pursue him. Now, the hero must defeat the villains and restore his good name. Stellar Blade is a third-person action game. The player controls the heroine, Eve, who battles biotive monsters using melee weapons. Combat in Stellar Blade involves attacking, defending, and dodging enemy attacks. These attacks, parries, and dodges form long combos. The player must identify the attack patterns of different enemies and counterattack at the right time. Stellar Blade takes place in a vast semi-open world. While navigating the world, the character must overcome various obstacles, climb walls, tactically glide, swing from ropes, and more. Throughout the game, Eve carries out various tasks for the residents of Zion, such as finding the missing sister of an NPC or collecting valuable energy cells needed for the city's survival. The game features supply stations, where players can restore lost stat points, purchase items, and upgrade their equipment and skills. As the player progresses, they earn experience points that can be spent on powerful new abilities for Ava, for example, the ability to pierce super armor, deliver long-range attacks, and interrupt enemy attack combos. The game also offers cosmetic items for customizing your character, including costumes, jewelry, and alternative hairstyles. There are numerous costumes in the game, from a fast-paced slasher with quick time events. God of War has evolved into a measured action game that requires tactical combat rather than just button mashing. The gameplay offers a variety of combinations using weapons, shields, rolls, and dodges. Kratos' new weapon, the Leviathan Axe, has different swing and strike physics than previous blades, and its magical properties allow Kratos to return the axe to his hand after throwing it. The weapon's freezing effect is constantly used in combat, allowing him to cleave enemies or unleash a wave of ice across an area. Atreus also contributes to the monster-slaying game, using a bow and various types of arrows suited to various combat situations. He can also be given commands, like a true RPG. In God of War, you can equip your heroes with various equipment with increasingly higher stats, upgrade your weapons, and unlock new abilities. The story alone in God of War will take at least 20 hours, and finding all the secrets and solving quests will take almost 60. Detroit Become Human is a third-person interactive adventure from the creators of Fahrenheit and Heavy Rain. Players will experience an outstanding cyberpunk game, set in a future Detroit, where all residents actively use robots. You play as androids fighting for robot rights in a world of future humans. The game features several characters, each of whom will be the main protagonist in their own episodes. Furthermore, the wide variety of playthroughs extends throughout the story. Detroit Become Human is a single-player, third-person PS4 exclusive cyberpunk interactive movie with elements of detective, thriller, and action, released in 2018. Developed by Quantic Dream, the creators of Fahrenheit and Heavy Rain, it combines the studio's signature elements, a complex, intriguing plot, multiple characters, and a non-linear presentation. With a masterful grasp of genres and cinematic techniques, David Cage sets a high bar in telling the story of android slaves who come to terms with themselves and their status in the Detroit of the future. A new engine, optimized for PS4, plays a significant role in this, delighting players with excellent visual quality. natural animation created using multiple motion capture sensors, and the beauty of a futuristic city that seems straight out of a painting. The gameplay of The Last of Us Part I features minor changes from the original The Last of Us and The Last of Us Remastered. The game is an action-adventure with elements of survival horror and third-person stealth, featuring gunplay, melee combat, and a cover system. For most of the game, players control Joel, while Ellie and other characters are controlled by artificial intelligence. The main gameplay difference from previous versions is the absence of the factions multiplayer mode, which allowed players to participate in cooperative or competitive online matches with up to 8 players. Additionally, changes have been made to the AI of both enemies and allies, requiring allies to behave more logically and, for example, take cover if they realize they might be in the enemy's line of sight. The game will also feature 2 new playthrough modes, one that allows players to speed through the story campaign with a timer, while the other allows players to complete the story campaign with only 1 life. Horizon Zero Dawn is an action role-playing game played from a third-person view. Players take control of Aloy, a hunter who ventures through a post-apocalyptic land ruled by robotic creatures. Aloy can kill enemies in a variety of ways, shooting them with arrows, setting traps such as tripwires using the tripcaster, using explosives, and a speed. Machine components, including electricity and the metal they are composed of, are vital to Aloy's survival. She can loot their remains for crafting resources, ammo, resource satchels, pouches, quivers, resistance, antidotes, health potions, and traps can all be crafted. Weapons have modification slots for dealing more damage. Aloy wears a focus, a small earpiece that scans machines to determine their susceptibilities, identify their location, their level, and the nature of loot they will drop. One machine, the Stalker, can enable cloaking technology to avert the gaze of Aloy's focus scan. Machines attack with defensive and offensive measures, and in either case react to a perceived threat by charging at it with brute force or projectiles. Exhibiting the behavior of wild animals, some machines are inclined to move in herds, and others, with the ability to fly, do so in flocks, unless hacked with the override tool, or sufficiently hit with corruption arrows. Machines do not exert aggressive force against each other. Aloy also engages in battle with human enemies, such as bandits and the Eclipse Cult. An enhanced version of the 2019 zombie action game Days Gone. The game features enhanced graphics, increased foliage draw distance, improved shadow quality, improved lighting, and more. 3D audio, VRR support, DualSense controller support, and an improved photo mode. New content also features Horde Assault, Survival Mode, Permadeath Mode, and a Speedrun Mode. Days Gone, a single-player action-adventure game featuring survival, stealth, and action, played from a third-person perspective in an open world, was released in April 2019 after 3 years of development and several delays. Set in a post-apocalyptic world caused by an unknown virus pandemic, the game's defining feature is its authentic motorcycle romance. The use of Unreal Engine 4 enabled the creation of stunning graphics thanks to high-resolution textures, detailed models, natural dynamic lighting, realistic character animation, and high-quality effects, including rain, snow, and fog. The game was called one of the most beautiful open-world projects. Several years after his last adventures, Nathan Drake retires from treasure hunting and decides to start a quiet life with his wife, Elena Fisher. But his long-lost brother, Sam, previously believed dead, suddenly reappears and tells Nathan of a legendary pirate treasure, prompting him to return to the world of thieves. Chloe Fraser and her partner, Nadine Ross, plan to steal the Tusk of Ganesha artifact. The game's story revolves around 2 main characters, Jodie Holmes and a disembodied entity named Iden, a separate soul bonded to Jodie since birth. Jodie, played by actress Ellen Page, possesses supernatural abilities thanks to her psychic connection to Iden. As she grows older, she learns to control Iden and their shared powers. Willem Dafoe plays Nathan Dawkins, a researcher for the Department of Paranormal Activity (DPA) and Jodie's adoptive father. The actors worked on the project for a year at Quantic Dream, a studio in Paris. Beyond Two Souls premiered at the 2013 Tribeca Film Festival, marking the second time a video game has been screened at the festival. David Cage, the game's writer and director, explained that game studios should create interactive stories that are playable by everyone, including non-gamers. Upon release, the game received mixed reviews from critics. By the end of 2013, sales had exceeded 1 million copies, 2 months after its worldwide release. Heavy Rain is distinguished by its unusual control scheme, which combines button presses based on on-screen contextual prompts, spatial sensing, and quick time events. The game is non-linear. Decisions and actions taken by the player during the game can lead to different storylines and endings, including the death of one or more characters. David Cage, who wrote the 2,000-page script, served as the project's overall director. To create Heavy Rain, he traveled to Philadelphia to study the atmosphere. Cage's primary goal was to address the shortcomings of his previous game, Fahrenheit. Norman Corbile composed Heavy Rain, recording the soundtrack at Abbey Road Studios.